Hey John, hope you're having a good day. So today I'm going to talk to you about Azure Stream Analytics using a Twitter API. So on my screen right here, you can see that I got my Azure dashboard up with a couple different objects over here, and I'm just going to briefly explain what each of them does. First, I'm going to tell you what I needed to do to complete all of this jazz. So I needed to have an Azure subscription, a Twitter account, obviously to pull the tweets, and then all those authorization tokens that we got in class, and then the downloadable Azure Twitter API. Alright, so here I've got my Event Hub namespace up here. Pretty much what this is, it just allows me to track and monitor my incoming requests. So as you can see here, these are the purple line is the successful requests, and this is kind of just like the time of stuff coming in. This allows me to track everything that I'm going to be doing when I'm creating this Stream Analytics job, which I'll just talk about in a second here. Alright, so to create that Event Hub, you go to, I'm at my dashboard right now, but you go to this Create a Resource button, Internet of Things, and then you're going to want to create an Event Hub, so we just type that in up here. And then we would click Create. I've already done that, so I'm not going to do that. And the next step would be to go back to our Event Hub, and we would go to the Shared Access Policies. This one comes with it. This is when I created the Social Writer Twitter access, sorry. And then as you can see here is where we enter some of the primary keys and stuff like that. And the one that we care about is this endpoint. This we'll use later when we configure our API to allow the tweets to come in and have somewhere to store that. Alright, this is my API that I got pulling tweets right now. So I'm a huge Colts fan, so I got it. The Colts are playing the Texans right now, big division game, big inside some playoffs. So I wanted to see how the sentiment of that is going over throughout the game. So it's coming in right now. As you can see up here, these are all of our Twitter consumer keys, secret keys, whatnot. You can enter them here manually, or you can go into the files access over here, which is what I did, and entered them in manually. So over here, I've got them all entered right here. I changed some of these values to what I want, and kind of says in here what we need. So if we want to match any of them or all of them, we could do that right here. We could enter our hard code our Twitter keywords in here. And like what I said earlier, with that endpoint where it's going to be stored, we put that value in right here. And doing it this way, we don't have to go in there and change it in the API. As you see here, every time it kind of just saves that for future use, which is nice because I've had to re-download this thing a couple times because it kind of is a little bit funky. Alright, I'll just go over what the API is really quickly. So obviously we got our date and time. This is going to be our topic column, and then next to it's going to be the sentiment. The sentiment is given a 0 if it's negative, a 2 if it's neutral, and a 4 if it's positive. This is going to be the Twitter handle of whoever's tweeting it, and this is going to be the context of what is in the tweet. So obviously it pulls from whatever's in the tweet, gives us the topic and the sentiment score of that. And I've noticed that we're getting actually a lot of Colts and Texans stuff right now, but since I have Colts first in the hard-coded version, if it says Colts and Texans, I'm kind of realizing that it's just taking the topic from whatever it sees first, which kind of is a little bit issue if someone tweets something about mentioning both teams in there. So I've kind of been trying to figure that out. Alright, now we got the tweets. Now that we have the tweets coming in, that they're coming in real time from Twitter, we can go back in and create the Stream Analytics job to actually analyze kind of what's coming in here. So we'll go back to Create a Resource. We'll go back to Internet of Things, and then we'll create the Stream Analytics job right here. This is kind of what you enter the job name, obviously subscription resource group, and then where you're going to have it pulled from, which is US West. I've already done that here. I'll show you that. So here's my job, and this gives us a little more idea of kind of what's going on right here. So this is monitoring what's going on. So the blue line is the input, and the purple is the output here. So as you can see, besides this big spike right here, it's pretty lined up. We're getting input of 65 down here, and then output of 62. And then this is the utilization. See how much kind of resources that we're using through this Azure. This is my query. Pretty simple query. I tried playing around with it to get it a little more advanced, but it wasn't. It was the input was coming in, but it was not pushing the output to Power BI. So this is so far what I've used. I've tried to incorporate like putting an aggregate function on the sentiment score to see the average, and then using a tumbling or sliding window. Like I said, I could get that into Azure, so if I wanted to, I could download that and then put that back into Power BI and kind of analyze it that way, but that wouldn't be a real-time dashboard, which is what I wanted to create. So we're just selecting the time from our system, the topic, and the sentiment score from the Twitter stream, which is what the event hub would name that I named it, and then we're time stamping that by the created at field in the API. You can pull other things like the text, like the Twitter handle, but through Power BI, I mean, there's not much you could really do with those as of now. So this was the query that I tried to put in production to get loaded up into Power BI, but it didn't work. So pretty similar to what I had before, but just looking at the average of the sentiment score in a sliding window of 5, and then this is seconds by topic. So what I would do, it would look at the tweets coming in every 5 seconds, and then start pushing them out and pushing new ones in, and then having if the count of the tweets were ever greater than 20, it would exit out and start over again. But like I said, I was getting the inputs. I could download that into a text document or a text file and look at that, but I couldn't get it to come into real time, which is interesting. I've been trying to troubleshoot that for a while now. So there's 3 areas that you need to focus on when creating this job. 1 is going to be the input, 2 is going to be the query, and then 3 is going to be the output. So just looking at the input here, so this is my input alias, what it's called, stream name, and this is where the Event Hub namespace is right here, and there's shared access policies that I created earlier, just allowing all of the inputs to be loaded in real time to Azure. Next, we already talked about this. It's going to perform a query on what is coming in. And the last part is going to be the output, where we want to put it. So there's a couple different places that you can put this. You can put it back into Azure. You can download it to your desktop. But the goal of this assignment was to see if I could get it pushed to Power BI. So I have the output alias of Power BI. I named the dataset name Colts vs. Texans, or Colts_Texans. And then the specific table in Power BI of sentiment analysis. Alright, so now we'll switch over to Power BI and see what's going on over there. So this is the real-time dashboard that I've kind of been playing around with and creating. As you can see, we got the incoming tweets here of what's going on real-time in the game. Coming in kind of fast right now, actually. So this top one, I've got the overall sentiment over time. So as you can see, it's updating at real-time. It's 12:37 p.m., which is a minute ago, and it's updating every, like 10 seconds what's going on. So as you can see here, the overall sentiment is 4. So that means that something happened in the game, and it looks like down here that it's the Colts, because this is the frequency of individual tweets of kind of what's coming into Power BI. The blue is obviously the Colts, so it's pinging it way over here a lot, so maybe the Colts just scored. Let's hope so anyway. And then this is going to be the sentiment score by team of the incoming tweets. So right now they're both at 2, and as they kind of come in, Texans drop, Colts go up to 4, back up to 2, and it kind of switches over if Texans were to jump up to 4 over there. So just what other things you can do in here? You can see the streaming data set, and here it is right here. Colts versus Texans, that's my data set. So to add a new tile into here, you just create a new tile, click the other ones. This is the other stuff I've been playing around with. And then you can create a card, which could be like your sentiment score. I created a line chart, cluster bar chart, and column chart, and then you could create a gauge. I'll go over that really quick, and then it would just show up the value down here. And then, it's kind of finicky. and then here's this, and it's the incoming sentiment score of that given tweet. If anything were to change, should pop up and change over here. Oh, there it goes. There, now it's 4. Stuff like that. Kind of cool stuff you can do with it. Unfortunately, you need the bottleneck over here is you need to have the incoming. Obviously, you need to have output coming into it to do anything with it. So I wish that I could create a sliding window and create some more of an actual aggregate function on the tweets that came in. I feel like you could get more out of it that way, but just basically this is what I've been working on. Through using Azure and Power BI, you can do, since they're both Microsoft products, you can do some pretty cool stuff, as you can see here. Thanks for the time, John. I'll hope to be talking to you soon.